Yo, what up, everyone? It's your boy Debo with Debo's Picks. I want to recap my picks from last night's NBA games, as well as go over my picks for tonight's NBA games, sprinkling in with some Thursday night football. So let's dive into it. Starting off with yesterday's picks, I had a five-player flex, starting with Giannis going over 32.5 points. He clearly fell just shy of that with 32, simply because they yanked him with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter because they were blowing the doors over Detroit. That really stings, and it reminds me two things I don't like about betting on the NBA: foul trouble, blowouts. Those things can absolutely hurt you unless you take the under. But you can't predict the blowout and you can't predict foul trouble, especially if a player is not prone to getting into foul trouble. But it is what it is, man. These things happen. It sucks. Jason Tatum over his PRA at 38.5. He did his thing. Every time he's under 40, I'm going to take it. He's just too dynamic of a player. Paul George, we had him going over his PRA of 37.5. He clearly just fell shy of that with 37. Much like Giannis, except without getting yanked early, we just needed him to get that one more point, one more assist, or one more rebound. I also mentioned that I like this points 24.5. So if y'all decide to go that route, good for you, because he hit and he went 4 out of 5. Jalen Brunson, 18.5, had him going over. He did his thing. Shengun going over 8.5 rebounds. I tell you, got to expect more out of that. He did. He finished with 13. So if you tell me straight up, you went 3 for 5. If you took out George and put his points in, which I had suggested if you were interested in, and you did it, good for you. You went 4 out of 5, so it's a W for you. If you didn't, you took a loss because you are walking away with less money than you came in with. Obviously, you already know that's not what I'm about. I'm about stacking bread. And with that said, let's try to right this ship with my picks for tonight. Now, I have two five-player flexes. I'm going over the first one here. Mike Porter Jr. going over 8.5 points for the first half. This guy is their offensive weapon. I know they got Murray. I know they got Joker. But this is the guy. He is a true scorer. He's kind of like a mini Durant. Give me over 8.5. He's been averaging well over this for the past 5 or 6 games. Give me this. 8.5 over first half. Wendell Carter Jr. under 14.5 PRA. He did his thing his last game out. He dropped 30. I think he had a double-double. That ain't happening against Golden State in the first half. So give me under 14.5. He's averaging well under this too, so I don't expect him to have back-to-back huge games like he did last game out. Miles Sanders, now you can go different routes on this. I'm just going to do the bundle route, meaning the fantasy score is pretty much going to reflect the touchdown and the yards. Now you can go yards individually. You can go obviously the pass, receiving, and rushing touchdown route. I'm just going to bundle it together, keep it easy. 13 fantasy points going over. Davis Mills, under 12 fantasy points. The Eagles ranked second in the league, giving up the least amount of fantasy points to quarterbacks. So I love this matchup for the Eagles defense. And lastly, Jake Elliott going under 8.5 fantasy points. I don't see the Eagles kicking one damn field goal in this game. They obviously are a team that likes to go for it on fourth down. That's number one. Number two, they can't stop them. I see Eagles just scoring TDs, not settling for field goals. Why would they? You know, the Texans do not have a defense like that. They're not built like that. So I love Jake Elliott to go under this number. He's averaging under this number as it is. So give me this under 8.5 fantasy points. My second and final five-player flex consists of Steph Curry's fantasy score going over 44.5. I'm a little scared of the blowout potential, but I feel like if they're blowing out the Magic, Steph Curry is having a hell of a game, and he can easily get over this 44.5 fantasy score, even if he doesn't play a full game and he gets yanked, say, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I think he gets there before that. So give me this fantasy score. Wendell Carter again, under 14.5 PRA for the first half. Michael Porter Jr., over 8.5 points for the first half. Davis Mills again, under 12 fantasy points. Jake Elliott, under 8.5 fantasy points. Now, there's one play that I really love that I couldn't use, and I don't agree with the rules that they have, meaning Prizepicks. I love the Eagles' fantasy score on defense. I believe it's set at 8, if I'm not mistaken, or 8.5. Doesn't matter. I like it a lot. But if you take the defense, you cannot pick any other player on either team for the NFL. So that rule, I wish they lifted it, because honestly, it would have been Miles Sanders, Davis Mills, Jake Elliott, Eagles defense, and I would have threw in an NBA player. That's the way but unfortunately, they cap you. If you take that defense, you can't do any. You can't pick anybody else in the NFL. It's just ridiculous. But it is what it is. But those are my plays for today, guys. There's not really much jumping out tonight. There's only 2 games for the NBA and 1 NFL game, so it's really simple. So best of luck. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.